Oh, you just.
Larry, would you please lead us in prayer? Everybody stand. Go ahead, Sister.
Bow our heads, please. Lord, thank you for our city. Please give our city grace, truth, justice, and stability. Bless our deliberations this day so that we may wisely serve the citizens of our city. We ask for these blessings in your name, Lord. Amen.
Thank you.
Robert, would you call roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Lively,
Present.
Mr. Cooper,
Present.
Mr. Nelson,
Present.
Ms. George Ellis,
Present.
Mr. Carter,
Present.
and Ms. McKellen.
Present. We have a quorum. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes of our March the 8th meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Any changes or corrections?
No.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of previous meeting, March 8th, as submitted. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous approved minutes. Okay, there is no old business. One item of new business. Site plan review 2210. Culvers. Would you please introduce yourself and give your address to the clerk, please?
Yes, my name is Josh Cockrell with Kinley Horn on behalf of the client. And the address is 1274 Grand Bay Parkway West, Jacksonville, Florida, 32258.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about the project, please?
Yes, so we're proposing a Culver's restaurant. This is a Wisconsin-based.
I forgot. It's a short meeting and I was making it short. Raise your right hand. Do you swear the information you provide this evening to be true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Now you tell us a little bit.
Okay, thank you. So we're proposing a Culver's restaurant. It's a Wisconsin-based family-owned company. It's approximately 4,300 square feet. We're going to propose at the out parcel in front of the Publix on Highway 90. And we're here to answer any of your questions.
Has the board had a chance to look up the documentation?
Yes, I have one question. This may just be an administrative thing. Typically, we don't see such detailed soil boring reports in the submittals that come to us. Was there a reason why those were included for us to take a look at? Is there a potential issue there regarding soil borings?
Not that I'm aware of. We just like to be thorough and include relevant information.
Perfectly fine. I'd never reviewed one of those before. It was a new
I
experience.
applaud your thoroughness.
Back in the old days, we did have 2 sinkholes along that area.
There we go.
Way back. Are there other questions or comments?
Is that what you guys were primarily checking for, sinkhole activity?
Just for the drainage on site.
Yeah, I don't think any of them went below 6 feet or so in depth. These weren't geologic borings. This was exclusively surficial soils.
There are, on their site and project information, it says no information in regards to the structure's loading system was available for preparation of this report. Is that usual? Because I know it's a 1-story building. But what do you call that, a dead load when you,
I'm sorry, which sheet was that on?
it's page number 1.
Is there a little gray box in the lower right-hand corner?
Yeah,
Number 10.
number 10, there you go.
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Okay, you see your site and project information?
On the application? So for the geotechnical. So we are not the geotech, so I can't speak to what their methods were.
Okay, I just thought that was odd. I say, well, why even,
I'm sorry, 15-foot bores,
you got page?
6. No, I see what you're talking about. Yeah, that would have been performed by a subcontractor, not by the agent here.
Okay. Maybe that would be, so the Caltech testing, they said to you that everything was fine, everything was good,
Correct.
okay?
I have kind of a serious question. What is a butter burger?
It's a very delicious burger that I believe that you should all try after you've approved this site plan and allowed for the restaurant to be built.
Where did you find that in the packet?
I appreciate the
I read
hard-hitting
that too, and I
questions.
thought,
I'll be the first person to get a butter burger in this town.
Is it Butterburger?
Yeah,
Just curious, is it a franchise?
Yes,
So is it locally owned, Jacksonville?
it's Wisconsin-based,
I mean,
but yes.
who would own this? Oh, hello.
Elizabeth Goff would be the franchisee. Tyler.
and that baby was fat, she's.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
raised,
sure,
she's
sure.
raised on Butterburgers.
Yeah. I think they have these on the West Coast, don't they?
I believe so, yes.
I've heard of Butterburgers at Sonic's. They have Butterburger.
I'm sure it's not the same.
But,
Further questions or that's about?
Nothing for the proponent.
in your highway, what is that, the Florida State Transportation,
They are good with it.
they're good with the.
Yes, sir.
Cause that's gonna be a lot of traffic up there and right there in front of Publix.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of traffic. Yes.
Is there anyone else here that wishes to speak to this particular item?
Yeah.
No? No further comments?
You know how busy that parking lot is, right? That Publix parking lot? I know you're gonna have your own parking lot, but
Yeah, we have our own proposed parking lot.
there's only 2 like entrance and exits. Are you guys gonna have a through to Publix parking lot, or are you guys gonna have additional entrance, but are you gonna have your own?
So on the site plan, we have the 2 access to the site shown on there.
I can see in there.
Is there no
This will
further?
face the bank and this faces public.
Some idea hypothetically, your interior of your restaurant, would it be big as this space in here?
I'm not sure the exact size of this room.
Yeah.
And the architect actually designed the.
It can't be that big, that's not that much land there. And that's a parking lot and a drive-through. Okay?
We can see in the plan that most of the space is parking lots.
Mhm.
Looks like I'll have plenty of room.
If there are no further public comment on SPR 2210, I would be happy to entertain a motion.
Motion to approve SPR 2210.
Second.
One told them.
Mr. Leidig,
Yay.
Mr. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Nelson,
Yay.
Mr. Ellis,
Yes.
Mr. Carter,
Yes.
and Ms. McCollum.
Yes. All in favor, it's unanimous. Congratulations, SPR 2210 has been approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And you bring the baby back,
He
John.
gonna- Yeah, he brought the baby for extra leverage.
Yes, we do a baby, right? Mama baby, but the baby, no.
Or
She gonna be the poster child
Yeah.
for the Butterburger.
Get a big old sign for her. She likes that frozen custard too. You know, get the Butterburger and the frozen custard.
Oh, wow.
I'd like to invite all of you to the opening.
I noticed we have other people here this evening. Did you need to speak to the board?
Good afternoon, board. My name is Steve Brown. I'm the City of Lake City Natural Gas Director. We, on behalf of customer service and the utility division, we have a bi-weekly meeting where we actually go over the second phase of these site plans regarding utilities, the infrastructure as far as that stuff goes, water, wastewater, all of that stuff, which gets approved through us prior to y'all seeing these things actually. So, we've had some position changes, some new people on board. We just wanted to sit in on one of the meetings and make sure if there was anything we could do that we needed to add to and or take away so that we have total transparency and we didn't have anything fall through the cracks.
My thank you for doing this. And with the question that Larry had about the weight bearing and everything, I'm sure that the groundwork that has been done for percolation.
Yes,
Where's the
so,
runoff gonna happen?
yeah, so that's kind of what we're, again, kind of why we're here. We want to make sure that all these questions get answered, not so much from say, the architectural side. These guys will be able to speak more to that, but because we are eventually all going to have to work together on this project. In the past, we've had growth management directors that we work a lot closer with, and we don't actually have all these positions filled. So what we did on behalf of customer service and the utilities divisions, again, is just try to put a good foot forward and say, let's come sit in on the meeting and see.
We appreciate it. All of you are with the utilities department.
We are all, this is customer service, which actually works in conjunction with utilities. I am a representative of the utility division, natural gas, water, wastewater, so forth and so on.
So we're neighbors over in the new building.
So we're just here to help out and make sure that if there's anything we can do to pull our way, we want to make sure we do it, make sure nothing falls through the cracks.
That's excellent. You're welcome at all meetings.
I do have one comment. Where did we get those 50 City Lake City hats?
590 Southwest Arlington. We'll get you.
Steve, what was your last name again, Steve?
Brown, Steve Brown.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
City Lake City Natural Gas Director.
Great. Thank you, Steve. Okay, workshop. Discussion items for workshop. What do we have?
We'll need to schedule a orientation for our new member. Also, we know when Mr. McMahon is being brought on board.
We haven't heard anything, Chris. We didn't know Ms. McKellen was gonna be here. Nobody's informed us of this.
Who's supposed to?
City clerk's office.
The only thing I have is, once we get our final member on the board, and Mr. McMahon is formally notified and seated, we should probably either have our attorney come back or some other designated official who can walk us through a formal orientation for our new members.
I like the fact that he showed up,
Absolutely.
you know, it wasn't answered, but he thought, be a great idea to, get to know.
I think Robert and Marshall are ready to give us a little walkthrough on certain types. Have you seen the sheet of applications, all the different applications that come through? I think that they're prepared this evening to give us a walkthrough, the workflow more or less, of what happens on like a new plat, rezoning. Are y'all ready for that this evening, Marshall?
Ready, buddy?
I wasn't prepared for that.
I spoke with Marshall about it. If he's blindsiding you, he's in trouble.
I gotta teach him somehow.
Yeah,
I'll get up
exactly.
to speed.
We may want to table this if we're getting a new member at the next meeting, so they don't have to repeat this
Yeah,
lecture.
we'll be repeating a lot of things. So I would like to go through this to see how y'all react to it. No, Marcia.
Okay.
Working on it.
Y'all all know me, I'm Marshall Silva, I'm the code enforcement officer for the city. Interim planning and zoning until we got Mr. Robert Angelo in. So you want specific instructions on a replat?
Right.
Okay, what we do is we get the paperwork, the application, replat paperwork. Make sure everything is filled out by the contractor, engineer, or whoever's doing it. Once we get that all done, we sign off on it. We send that packet to the regional planning council. The regional planning council does not get in a hurry at all. They take their time on this kind of stuff.
They're in Tallahassee,
They're in Gainesville.
region.
Yes, this, it's called the North Central Florida Regional Planning Council, what it's called. Once we get an answer from them, they send us the paperwork back stating that it's been approved. We get, if we have to place signs on the property, they give us the signs to place on the property. We have to notify, or have to put a 10-day notice on the property itself. Okay, has to be advertised in the newspaper. We send that information to the newspaper. The Regional Planning Council gives us a date of what newspaper date it's got to go in. That gets advertised. It gets advertised on downstairs on the first floor. The hearing's coming up on it. We post the hearing date on the board downstairs. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything there, Robert.
Posted in the next report.
Yeah, I got the newspaper. I've got that. After that, it goes to the hearing date. And y'all listen to the contractor, engineer, or whoever's owner of the land, and y'all give the approval of yes or no.
So, planning and zoning approves the paperwork as far as what?
Correct.
It then goes to regional planning. And when regional planning is ready, they give us an advertising date and we advertise it for public hearing, and it comes here. City utilities, nobody else looks at any of this.
Not on the replay. No. Only if they're gonna build something
Was that
on that property.
your question?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, before the meeting, just because I had a lot of questions, with respect to, the plat of the property. So it's already been rezoned, it's just have to get signatures for the replat. And it's gotta go to 5 different, I understand it from the survey company, it's gotta go to like 5 different departments. It's gotta go to this department, and they get a signature from this guy and that guy, I don't know. So if I had it in front of me, that'd be great. I don't have a copy. The copy's out there in the hemisphere somewhere with the first city manager, so he didn't seem to think it was a big deal to get it done. He took it and said, oh yeah, I'll handle it, and
Well, since it's still floating out there somewhere,
everything else was history. So I can get another copy, probably, and get all that information. I think that he had all the signatures that he needed with the departments that needed to look at it. So whatever needs to happen with respect to that, you know, just restart it, you know, and just push forward again with it. But it's already been rezoned, you guys already approved that back in the day. And so it's just kind of like, you know,
so
in my mind, it's a simple thing,
it just hasn't got lost in the shuffle somewhere.
yeah. And
I'm not understanding what 5 signatures he said we're needing.
I don't
And once
know.
it goes to the planning council, that's the all final, that gets the final go.
I'm sorry, what is this?
It's my property that I live on.
Okay.
I had a commercial piece of property that I rezoned residential, and it got rezoned, and so, in order for me to do anything with the property, it has to be replatted and recorded. But in order to get it replatted, it has to have signatures from the city. According to the survey company, I don't know anything about this stuff, I'm just learning.
And this brings up an interesting thing, for our code Robert's rules and how we handle meetings. If we can recuse ourselves from the vote,
Hmm.
the recusal indicates we probably have a monetary interest in it. Or we can abstain from a vote. That can be as simple as, I don't want my neighbor to know how I'm gonna vote on this. As long as we have a quorum, the vote is valid. The majority vote is valid, as long as we have a quorum present.
And you need 4 people to have a quorum. And you're replatting, this is a matter of redividing how the lots are divided on the piece of property.
So when his comes up,
Mhm.
he will recuse himself. If he's right next door to me, I may not want him to know. So I can, and we'll still have a quorum, which is why it's so important that we have a full board present.
And just let the board know a special exception and a variance is done the same way as a replat.
Right.
But the variance doesn't have to go in front of city council. The replat and the special exception does.
Now, does the variance go in front of the, city's attorney?
Yes,
Is that-
yes,
Is that who?
that could be a signature
Is that,
that's needed on that, on your replat.
well, let me get a hold of, survey company and get another copy of all that. And see what's needed. And I did have another,
Okay,
question, which was my lot line in front of my house is like, the easement is like 30 feet,
Mhm.
or maybe 35 feet. It's like halfway into my yard, the easement. And I checked, and there's no utilities on that side of the road, like none. No pipes, no wires, no gas, no nothing. And on the other side of the road, their easement's maybe, 50 feet.
Mhm.
So they all have fences, they put fence in their yard, 15 feet, looks nice. But on my side of the street, it's different for some reason. So maybe they were thinking that 2-block area might get busy and they might have to widen the road, or I don't know what they were thinking, but, what I was thinking is that I would try to find out why and see if I could get because I don't want my front fence necessarily, I wanna put a 4-foot fence up around there
Mhm.
to be halfway in my yard.
Right,
I'd like it to be kind of like, forward toward the road a little bit.
right.
So, anyway,
If I'm not mistaken, maybe, Mr. Brown, you can answer this. We can vacate that easement, correct?
So, two parts to that. Vacating an easement is something that can be done. However, when we look at it from a utility standpoint, we look at what future growth in the area is gonna be. So for example, if we are building on each end of it, if there was, there could be growth, the easements are harder to vacate.
yeah,
But it is something that can be done.
there's no growth,
Usually when they plat those,
yeah.
they plan for what's gonna be put in there. There was this kind of a standard 30, 35 feet. When we call and ask for a utility easement now, 30 foot is kind of a standard.
Yeah.
That's what we do, so most anywhere we ask for a new construction, that's kind of what we look.
Well, I understand if you have a utility easement of that, 30 feet, 35 feet, 40 feet, if you're on, say, like 41 or 441, that would make sense to me, in my mind. Because those roads can expand depending on the population, right? They might go we wouldn't put another lane in.
Right.
But,
It's actually, believe it or not, from the, and this is not every, this is not every player in the game, but from the utility side, we look at maintenance. If I've got water, sewer, gas, there's got to be some type of communication, fiber a lot these days, they'll want to separate us 5 to 10 foot apart. So that if we have to get in there and maintain something, 5 foot sounds like a lot when you're talking about a 30-foot easement. When you're working on a 6-inch gas main with a 12-inch water line right behind you, 5 foot for a guy my size, I'm touching. So
yeah,
usually that's a major factor is maintenance in the future.
there's nothing in the ground there.
I'm not sure what the location is, but.
Yeah, right across from DOT, in Castle Heights, in that neighborhood, it's only 2 blocks long.
Mhm.
You got one block, goes to 41, then Castle Heights, and then the next block.
That's right.
That's it.
His is the monster house,
See,
huge.
that there
Not
is,
monsters.
yeah, well,
Monsters.
if I were to have to put something towards that from just an opinion based, is that's more of a, that's an older section, and it was probably platted that way years and years and years ago. Nobody's just ever questioned it up until now.
Yeah,
We are having growth spurts in areas, and there are some growing pains in that area. Actually, the roofing company just bought Mr. Darby's house, towards that area.
yeah,
And he had some issues, and unfortunately, not to go down that wrong road, is once we got into it, we were having a hard time explaining, because new growth and new development, new building, and trying to retro something that old, it was the same type scenario. We kept saying, but it's just the way we gotta do it right now. So if I were you, I would probably put in to vacate it. That would be the first step.
Yeah.
And then if what would
I
happen.
already checked, there's nothing on the ground.
Yeah, and we're doing one right now for a piece of property for Brian Zeker.
Oh, okay.
We're vacating one now. What he did is he come before the site plan committee, which is the ones that we do at the annex. The difference in that, and I don't wanna get off base here and get lost in the weeds, but I think what's happening here and what we do should be married. Because there's a
Right.
lot of stuff that I'm hearing.
Well, okay, let's take this conversation elsewhere for the moment. Do you mind if we put you down as one of our call-on experts? Because sometimes we need help.
Well, that's what I say. I don't know that we don't need to communicate on a regular basis rather than on an on-call, because so here's something that as we're sitting in the back of the room just thinking, as you see us kind of chit-chatting back and forth, when we talk about replats and zoning, so if you would go from zoning from residential to commercial, and Ms. Pelham can speak to this, this is in her wheelhouse.
Or from commercial to residential.
From commercial to residential, Shasta, the fees change by how much?
It depends on what type of.
Back road Baptist. That's a terrible joke, I'm sorry.
It's actually pretty funny.
We need your full name too.
My name is Shasta Pelham. I'm the utility service coordinator for the city. So whenever you set up a utility account, your rates are based on if you're residential, if you're commercial. Your trash pickup is the same, whether or not you're residential or commercial. And then it's broke down into kind of subcategories of what type of business you have, and that determines what type of fees you pay. So all of those things change when someone annexes in, whenever zoning changes, things like that.
Well, this particular property was just woods. It was like 3/4 of an acre,
Mhm.
and it had been that way forever. And my particular road is a little bit, I don't know, man, blighted. Some's blighted, some isn't. It's like, it's a mix of like crap and stuff that's okay. Reminds me of like old Lake City, that area over there. So I'm
We're being
not,
recorded, Greg, we're being recorded. We have not gone off camera yet.
but I love Lake City. Every city has that, anyway, so I just wanted to, make it part of my house, my property. Anyway, I took all the trees out and got it rezoned. These guys are pretty good. Before I came board member, they're pretty good. So I just have to get a plat so that I can record it, so that I can put that up. But I can't do anything with it the way it is. because it's kind of in limbo. So that property, like he said, was, all that stuff was done years and years and years ago. Back in the 1970s.
Rest of us want to get out quickly,
Oh, okay.
and you can grab them on the way out. Our third guest this evening is,
One thing I would like to add real quick is moving forward into where you were referring to being an, I think it is critical, and all the way down to the purchase of property when you're looking into that, knowing what's on it, knowing why it's there, why it's not. So when you guys are making a decision, not knowing where we're at with even just utilities that are existent, that is very, very important to us. I'm not sure if you're aware, but we sold a piece of property to somebody to build a Taco Bell on. There was a sewer force main right underneath the building. Those are all preventable.
yes, sharing knowledge
Yes, ma'am.
is a good thing. We meet first Tuesday of every month. Randy, bye.
Hey, how are you guys? My name's Katrina Medeiros. I'm the customer service manager.
Hello.
So Shasta and I work pretty closely with all the utilities. So everything comes through us essentially for all billing, water, sewer, gas, garbage needs.
So since you're the manager, you're the one who has to smile no matter how nasty we
Yes.
are. I know your job well.
Yes. So, but we like it.
Other comments, questions, anything?
Well, it'd be helpful to have him here when we're looking at these commercial
Wow.
feeds that everybody's gonna.
I will offer my help with talk with Steve
Well,
and
we're-
possibly some others, and possibly others. Then I think it is,
I can actually, I spearhead a lot of this stuff, which is kind of how we got here tonight. I can actually have a conversation with the city manager and kind of give him some feedback on this. He's very supportive, obviously being the executive utility director as well. Utilities is one of our lifelines, as everybody knows, not to get too far off, but it's hard for you guys to do your jobs not knowing what we know. If we all don't know what we, and vice versa, that could get to them. So I don't know that we need to be here for every meeting, but to have our, our expert opinion on it would probably
well,
help.
that's the reason I thought we kept your name, because we get our agendas in advance, and we can go over with Robert and Marshall some of the things that we're going to be needing, so you can get an advance notice.
Yeah, and we can share it amongst all of our, not just myself, but there's a water plant operator, distribution and collections op.
Correct.
Anything we can do to help, we'll definitely be on board.
I now have your name, and I will have your number very shortly, and you will be here in front of me. Thank you very much. Marshall, anything else?
Do we, Marshall, we got a city manager?
We have a,
Permanent, interim, okay.
We don't even have an interim at the moment.
it's Mr. Dial that y'all, yeah,
Okay, so he's still in?
yes.
If there's no other discussion, I will be happy to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous, thank you very much. At 4 minutes after 6. We got it.